So some of the students have been asking for me to go through the Unit 7 review for systems quiz, so I thought I would do that. So if we take a look at number 1, and I'm going to use combination, and I'm going to use combination on almost all of these, but if I go to combine these, I can't combine them right away because nothing will eliminate. And in order to eliminate, I would have to have like a 8x here or a negative 8 here, and I can do it. If I look right here, I can do it just by multiplying this one. I don't have to multiply on both. So here on this one, I'm going to multiply by negative 2. So that would give me negative 8x minus 10y equals a positive 46. Now, when I combine the top one and the bottom one together, positive 8x, negative 8x, those cancel. I got a positive 3y and a negative 10y, that's negative 7y. And I have a positive 3 and a positive 46, that's going to give me 49 when I combine those. Then I would divide both sides by negative 7. I would get y equals negative 7. Now, to find out what my x value is, I'm going to have to plug this in for y in one of the equations. Let's use the bottom equation. So I have 4x plus 5y equals negative 23. And remember, I'm going to take this 7, and I'm going to take the 7, I'm going to plug it in right here for y. So I'd have 4x plus 5 times a negative 7 equals negative 23. 4x equals, 4x minus 35 equals negative 23. Now I'm going to add 35 to both sides. That's going to give me 4x equals, that's going to be, it's going to give me 12. Divide by 4, divide by 4. X equals 3. So my answer here is 3 comma negative 7. And that's how you do number 1. On number 2, we're going to graph this one, and I'm going to use the cover-up method. So I'm going to do my setup that I typically do. When my x is 0, so if I cover up the x, I get y equals 7. And I cover up the y in the top equation, I get x equals 7. So there's my first set of dots to graph my first line. On number 2, I'm going to do the same thing. Do my setup. Then I'm going to make my x 0. 2 times something equals 14. Well, that's 7. And then on my bottom, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cover up the y. 2 times something equals 14. Well, I have the exact same points if you look at this. So let's graph it. I would have 0, 7. Let's see, how can I do this? Everything looks positive. I'm going to go, this will be my x. This will be my y. So 0, 7 would be over 0, up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'd have a dot right there. And then 7, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what I have is a negative sloping line, something close to this. And when they are exactly the same, how many solutions do they have? Well, they have infinitely many solutions. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Number 3 is another combination one, and this one would, if I look here, to get rid of my x's, I would have to multiply 1 by 5 and 1 by negative 4, or vice versa, 1 by negative 5, 1 by 4, to get these to be 20 so I could eliminate them. Or here you can see I both have 2y, so I'm just going to multiply one of them. Let's do the bottom by a negative 1. So that would give me negative 5x minus 2y equals positive 3. Now when I combine the top and the bottom, I'd get negative x, and then I'd get, my y's would cancel, so that's gone, and 0 plus 3 equals 3. Multiply everything by a negative 1, I'd get x equals negative 3. Now that I have this x equals negative 3, I can plug it into any equation I want. I'm going to go right up to the top here. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, plus 2y equals nothing. So I'd add 12 to both sides. 2y is equal to 12. Divide by 2. I get y equals 6. So my answer here is negative 3, 6. Let's take a look at number 4. On number 4, you can see once again that I have a positive 1 and a positive 1. And over here, I have negative 3y, and up here I have a positive y. So you could actually multiply one of these by negative 1 if you wanted to. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to times by 3 on the top. So that's going to give me 3x plus 3y equals 18. Now, when I combine the bottom two, x plus 3x is 4x. A negative 3y and a positive 3y, those cancel. And I get 4x is equal to 28. Now I'm going to divide by 4. I'm going to get x is equal to 28 divided by 4 is 7. Now I'm going to go back to my original equation, and I'm going to pick my original equation up here at the top. So x, I'm going to plug in 7, plus y equals 6, minus 7 from both sides. I get y is equal to negative 1. So my answer here for 4 is 7, negative 1. Number 5. So I'm looking at number 5, and if I look here, I'm thinking, well, I got 6 here. I could multiply this by a negative 3. That would work. Or I have a positive 7y and a negative y. So I think what I'm going to do is multiply by 7 on the bottom. So I'm going to multiply by 7. That's going to give me 14x minus 7y equals, and 7 times 22, 154. Now I'm going to combine my top and my bottom. So I would get 20x. My y's are going to go away. And I got a positive 154 plus 26. That's going to be 180. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 20. And I get x equals 9. Now I'm going to plug back in, and I can go into either one. It doesn't matter. So let's go right into the top. 6 times 9 is 54, plus 7y equals 26. I'm going to minus 54 from both sides. So that's gone, and then I get 7y equals negative 28. I divide by 7. I get y equals negative 4. So my answer for number 5 is 9, negative 4. And this is where those two lines cross. Let's take a look at number 6. So as I evaluate this problem, I'm going to look here. The LCM of 3 and 5 would be 15. That means that I would have to multiply the top by negative 5, the bottom by 3. But if I look here at the y's, one's a negative 8 and one's a positive 4. So I can just take this bottom one and multiply it by 2. So that would give me 10x plus 8y equals 56. And then when I combine the top and the bottom, I would get 13x. My y's would disappear, and I would get 56. Not 56. I would get, because I have a -4 and a +56, that's going to give me 13x equals 52, not 56. Divide both sides by 13, and I get x is equal to 4. Now I'm going to plug it back in, and remember that we can go to either the top equation or the bottom equation, so let's go here to the top. I would have 3 times 4, which is 12, minus 8y equals -4. So then I'd minus 12 from both sides. That would give me -8y is equal to a -16 divided by -8. And -16 divided by -8, negative divided by negative, is a +2. So my answer here would be 4, 2. All right, let's take a look at number 7. Looking at number 7, I've got 4x and 3x, and over here I've got 3 and 2. I think I'm going to focus on getting rid of the y's. So in order to get rid of the y's, one's going to have to be positive, one's going to have to be negative. And my LCM for 3 and 2 is going to be 6. So I'm going to multiply here by 2, the top by 2, and the bottom by a -3. So working at the top, I'd have 2 times 4x, which would be 8x, 2 times +3y, which would be 6y, and 2 times -4 would be -8. On the bottom, I'd have -9x minus 6y equals a +3. So now when I combine these two, I'd get -x, my +6y and my -6y would disappear. My x is going to be equal to -5. My -x is equal to -5. So if I multiply everything by -1, I would get x equals +5. Now to check it, we can go into either equation, either the top or the bottom. I'm going to take the bottom one. So I'd have 3 times 5, which is 15, plus 2y equals -1. I'd minus 15 from both sides. That would give me 2y equals -16. Divide by 2, I get y equals -8. So my answer would be 5, -8. And that's how you do number 7. Let's take a look at number 8. Evaluating number 8, you can get rid of the x's if you multiplied the top by a -3, or the y's by doing the same thing. So let's go ahead and multiply by -3 on the top. So I'd get -9x plus 12y equals a negative 42. And then when we combine them, I'm combining this bottom one and this one I just wrote out. 9x and a -9x would give me 0x. A -12y and a +12y, that's going to give me 0. And I'm going to get 0 equals 6. Now, when you get something like this, it does not make sense. 0 does not equal 6. When you get kind of a weird answer, the answer is no solution. All right, number 9. On number 9, we're going to have to do something kind of creative because you're going to have to multiply both the top to get rid of the x's and the bottom, and you're going to have to do that on both equations this time. So I'm going to start off by multiplying by 6, and on the bottom I'm going to multiply by a -5. So 6 times 5 is 30x. I'm doing the top now. 6 times -8 would be -48y. And 6 times 10 would be 60. On the bottom, negative 5 times 6 would be negative 30x. Negative 5 times a negative 7 would be a positive 35y. And negative 5 times a negative 1 would be a positive 5. So now we're going to combine these. So my x's go away. I got 48, and that's going to give me, so that's negative 13, y equals 65. Then we divide by negative 13. That's going to give me y equals negative 5. Now to find what x is, I'm going to plug it in. Let's go to the top one. I'm going to have 5x minus negative 8 times a negative 5. Well, that'll be plus 40 equals 10. Then we're going to minus 40 from both sides. That's going to give me 5x is equal to a negative 30. Then divide by 5. That gives me x is equal to negative 6. So my answer here is negative 6, negative 5. And that's what I got for number 9. Well, let's take a look at number 10. Number 10. I'm looking at this equation. I got a 3x here. I got a 6x there. Here I've got negative 5, negative 10y. So I think what I'm going to do is multiply maybe the top by negative 2. Multiply by negative 2, that would give me negative 6x, positive 10y, equals negative 40. So I'm going to combine this one and this one. So I get 6x and a negative 6x. Well, those go away. I get negative 10y and a positive 10y. Those go away. So I get 0 equals 20 combined with a negative 40 would be negative 20. Here's another one of these that doesn't make sense, gives you kind of the weird answer, and if it's one of those, we have no solution. All right, let's take a look at number 11. All right, so this is another one of those that we're going to have to multiply both the top and the bottom, and I think I'm just going to focus on the x's, and I'm going to multiply the top by positive 5. And I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by negative 6. 5 times 6x, I'm just going to focus on the top. 5 times 6x is 30x. 5 times 5y would be 25y. Equals 5 times a negative 4 would be negative 20. Now we go to the bottom. Negative 6 times 5 is negative 30x. Negative 6 times a positive 8 would be a positive 48y. And negative 6 times 21 is equal to negative 126. No, that's not right. Yeah, negative 126. Ah, there we go. Now we're going to combine them. So my x's go away. My y's are going to be 73y equals a negative 146. Then I'm going to divide by 73. I get y equals negative 2. Now that I have my y value, I'm going to plug it in, and let's go to the top equation. So I'm going to have 6x, and then I have a negative 2 times 5. A negative 2 times 5 would be negative 10, equals negative 4. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. 6x is equal to 6. Divide both sides by 6. I get x is equal to a positive 1. So my answer here is 1 comma negative 2. All right, the last one is number 12. Let's take a look. All right, so on the top equation, I'm going to set up my cover-up method. So when my x is 0, my x is 0, I get negative 3 times something equals 6. Well, that's got to be a negative 2. And then when my y is 0, x is equal to 6. So my first location is 0, -2, and 6, 0. Now let's go on to our bottom equation. So when my x is 0, let me see if I can move this box. I'll just do it this way. When my x is 0, a -12 times something equals 24. So that one's going to be -2. And then when my y is 0, 4 times something equals 24. Well, that one's going to be 6. Okay, now if you look at the points that we have, 0, -2. Let me draw my lines like that. Here's my x, here's my y. So if I go over 0, down 2, that would be right there. And then if I go over 6, up 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it would be about right there. My line looks like that. Looking at these points, over 0, down 2, well, that's the same point. And over 6, up 0, that's the same point. So what I have here is two lines that are right on top of each other, and we know that as infinite solutions. So that is it. That is every question that was on the review for the quiz. Good luck.